Topics, URL, attributes, images, and anchors, also known as hyperlinks. A URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. It is also known as a web address. We need to understand the difference between a file inside of our computer and a file that is uploaded and it's online. The path of the file in our computer will look similar to this, while a file online will start with the domain, then followed by the folder and perhaps the name of the file that you're looking for. Attributes. An attribute either modifies the functionality of an element or provides functionality to elements unable to function correctly without them. An attribute requires three things: a description, followed by the equal sign, and the value between open quotes and closing quotes. This is an example of an attribute that modifies a tag. In this case, we have paragraph, and paragraph works fine by itself, but if we want to modify the look, we need to include this attribute called style and make the value to change the color to red. For an attribute that provides functionality, the best example will be images. Images won't work if they don't have an attribute called source. In this case, the attribute source, or src, requires the location of the image, and the image needs to be typed correctly with the correct extension. An image will require multiple attributes. We already talked about source, and that one is crucial. Other attributes could be width, height, and alternative, or alt. For our purposes, we are going to be placing all our images inside of an images folder. In this case, the source needs to represent that. The location of the image needs to start with the name of the folder, and they need to match, followed by the name of that file. If the name is typed incorrectly, the link is going to be broken. Most common mistakes is forgetting to name the folder, naming the file incorrectly, or forgetting the extension of the file. In any of these cases, the browser won't be able to find the image, and there will be a broken link symbol or no image. In most cases, we can modify the width and the height of our image with attributes as well. For our purposes, if we already established the width of our image, we don't need to establish the height. Also, these two attributes can be described with CSS. A required attribute will be alt. Alt stands for alternative. There's two main purposes for alt. The most important one is if the image doesn't show or the link is broken, there will be a description of the image. Another example of a tag that requires an attribute will be anchors, also known as links or hyperlinks. The anchor requires an open tag and a closing tag, and the text in between is what, or image, is what is being affected. Important disclaimer, there is a tag called link. So we shouldn't confuse the anchor that goes in the body with links that go inside of the head and help us connect to other files like CSS or fonts. An anchor needs the attribute href that stands for hyperreference. The hyperreference is followed by the equal sign and then the value. In this case is the location of the file. You type the name of the file that you're looking for, followed by the extension. The name needs to be precise, if not, the link will be broken. Once you establish the attribute inside of the open tag, what it's in between the open tag and the closing tag will be what is affected, and it will take you to the file or page that you're looking for. To summarize, images are single tags, also known as self-contained tags. They require an attribute called source to locate the image. It might require the size and the alt tags as well. On the other hand, an anchor is a pair tag and requires an open tag and a closing tag. In order to function, it requires the attribute href or hyperreference. Other attributes can be added. A rule to remember: attributes are only added to the opening tag, not to the closing tag.